Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Aziz, Samuel Aziz. And today I want to share with you the most important Islamic banking and Islamic finance video that you will ever find online. Inshallah. I want to share with you why money rules the world, why the modern finance system is the root for all the wars, for everything bad in this world. And I will present you the ultimate solution. And this presentation is so detailed that every non-Muslim should understand why Islamic finance is the ultimate solution. And of course, every Muslim should understand why Islamic finance is actually so great. So, Bismillah, let's begin with chapter number 1. And this chapter number 1 is money rules the world. And we are not talking about anything positive here. And most people believe governments and politicians rule the world, but in reality, it is money that rules the world. And the more you go down this rabbit hole and you learn how the world works, the more you understand it's simply the money. Because if you have enough money, if you have billions, trillions, you can buy almost everybody around the world. It even changes the elections. So even the people which rule on paper in front of the camera are still elected by money, by lobbying. And the people who have the money control the world. And who creates and controls the money? Over 97% of the world's money isn't even created by governments, but by banks through issuing loans. How do they do it? Through fractional reserve banking. This means that for every dollar that you deposit in a bank, the bank can lend $9 to someone else because they only need to have 10% of the money they lend out. And this is how they can afford all the big bank towers, everything they do in this world, and they can create money out of thin air. And this is the meaning of money isn't real, because you will understand why in the next pages. But first, the problem is these banks, they can just do it over and over and over again. So you go to the bank, deposit $10, the bank lends out $90, created out of thin air for the next person, and this person goes again to the bank, and the bank can lend out more money. So this is how more and more and more and more money is created in this world. And the times where you can just save your money and it still has value in 10 years, we all know this time is over. And there's a reason for it, because the people in charge, they don't want that finance is tied to something real and that it stays the same and that people can be free and that can, no, people should be enslaved. But you can do it right and you don't need to be enslaved, and you will learn how. But this is basically how the world works. People work, and they can put just a number in your online bank account, and the bank doesn't really care. Put your money here, here's the app, here's your bank balance, but we have the real money. And thanks to your 10%, we can create 90% more money. And how can people keep up with this? How can businesses, how can the people in this world can keep up with this? Because you need to create value, you need to hustle. Doesn't matter if you're on a job, if you're doing a business, and they can just print the money. That's it. So imagine how hard I needed to hustle for a few million. Boom, press a button, the money is already created. This is the easy way, and the system allows it. And this is the reason why the whole world is basically tied to a few locations, a few circles, a few banks, because you can't outcompete them. How? Doesn't matter how good your business is, they can just print more money. And no, the time where money was linked to gold or anything real is over, especially since 1971, where US President Richard Nixon ended the dollars linked to gold, which is famous as the end of the gold standard. Since then, there has been no real value backing the currency, only trust, which banks systematically exploit to artificially expand the money supply. And again, how can you outwork this? It's impossible. The banks and the people who have influence, they control the money, and you can't do anything against it. Or maybe you can do something against it. This is what we will reveal. But this already leads us to the even darker chapter, and this is chapter 2, Immoral Ways of Profit. And this is a dark chapter. You need to understand that the system only focuses on profit instead of ethics. There are investment funds that I don't want to mention here who manage over 10 trillion USD in assets, and they own weapon manufacturers. And if you own weapon manufacturers, they need to have clients, right? You can't produce weapons and just keep them in your storage, in your warehouse. You need to sell them. So there has to be a war. It's the same like an army, weapon suppliers. They can't just sit around and think, oh yeah, it's nice, we have peace. So we don't need to do anything, we don't need to sell anything. No, you need to create profit. So it's obvious that you need to do something, even to sell these weapons. And if you have money and influence, you can create the wars. You can create whatever you want, basically. Even if there's peace, every country has bad people, extreme people, people who don't care about the country. Bombard this type of people with enough money, and you will find your allies who will create conflicts inside a country, outside, and then you also own the media, which means you can influence what is portrayed in this world. So the reality will never come out, basically. Or even if some people have some conspiracies, you have more money, you own more media, you can buy the people, you can buy the politicians, you can buy the countries, you can buy the resources, you can buy everything, and this is all because of money. It doesn't mean money is evil, but this is what I will explain later on. So again, the system only focuses on profit instead of ethics. And anyone investing in a standard ETF, like the S&P 500, is first indirectly financing companies that profit from war, environmental destruction, and exploitations. And we were discussing about this for weeks, because what's the solution, right? If you buy real estate, you invest into a country, and there are not so many good countries in this world. If you invest in stocks, and stocks are just safe, the same like government bonds, you indirectly invest either in countries or in these companies. The solution, it's a long solution, and this will be a separate video, but write your questions into the comments and what you think about different investment possibilities and what the best investment possibility is, which is the most halal. I personally think, and this is just a quick golden nugget, the more money the righteous people control, the more flexibility you have, because then you can create your own ETF, your own stocks, your own country. Let's continue with chapter number 3. And this is Riba, interest, the invisible poison. First and foremost, with all these loans, in many cases, people can't even afford this. So loans allow regular people to afford a house or a car they can't afford. And now they are fully enslaved. And now everything gets more and more expensive. Just look at how expensive real estate was 10 years ago, or 30 years ago, or 50 years ago. It's insane. And if you owe someone money, this person or institution has power over you. And it doesn't matter if a country owes money to an institution, then this institution has even power over the country. And this is how it works. And this is how the free market works. And this is how the US and the European Union, why if you watch the news and sometimes think, wait, that all doesn't make sense. What these politicians do, it seems like they are just stupid. They don't do anything in the interest of this country. But it's not just because they are stupid, but because they are under the mercy of these institutions. And this is just neutrally how the world works. And I realized this when I started to use JP Morgan Chase in the past, and I realized the US government has a bank account with JP Morgan Chase. And I realized how powerful this is, or how much power these banks really have. It's insane. And these are the banks, these are the investment funds, because they all control the money. And if it's not the money, then it's the media. Just open your phone and look which apps do you use? And why are they all mostly from one country? Why is mostly all the media control, all your social media platforms, why they're mostly centered from Silicon Valley? Why is almost all the finance where you can invest centered around Wall Street? Why not from all over the world? Because the system is long gone. It's a totally different system nowadays. And interest, again, is an invisible poison. And you see that also developing countries are trapped in debt. So they get loans basically, pay billions in interest, and everything remains unbuilt. No good schools, no roads, no hospitals, nothing changes basically. And this is how people want it to be. If there wouldn't be any poverty for the elite, there's nothing that you can exploit. There's no value in solving all these problems, because then there would be no exploitations, no wars, which is impossible, and people wouldn't be distracted. They would all have their good life, family, house, safety. So now they would question everything that happens in this world. But if there's war, problems, and people have problems to even afford basic food. And now you see even this chain of all these things. Because look at, even in America, 70 years ago, houses for a regular person were more affordable than today. And doesn't matter, because we have offices around the world, employees around the world, clients around the world. It's the same in every country. Regular people can't afford anything anymore. If you have a regular salary just to pay your rent and pay for food, it's the limit, basically. So now I tell people about this and the world order and Islam, and you need to do this, and they think I'm fully distracted just by paying my next bill. What do you want from me? And this is a blessing if you can get out of this cycle. And this is even the whole cycle of the modern economy. Because when you can cover your expenses, then they hype you with the new car, the new brand, the new this. And you can get a loan. You can have the Gucci bag. You can have the nice Mercedes. I understood this when I was younger, but I told myself the issue is if I say I don't care about a lamb or whatever, most people say this because they can't afford it. So it's an excuse. So my way was I just achieve it to really grasp that I don't care. And I came to the conclusion, I don't care, because it's the emotion which is sold to you so that you take the next credit, so that you stay enslaved. You know, if you have this Gucci bag, if you have this car, then you will be happy. And then you can take this on loan and this as a credit. And now your whole life, and this is for most people, also in the Muslim world, is focused on just paying this and working for the next car in 5 years. And it doesn't change anything in your life. What is a car? It's an empty shell. And you can have it. That's why we share all the business advice, the real business advice here on this channel. And that's why we create the digital Islamic golden age. But if you enslave yourself, this is what's bad. And it gets even worse. The whole financial system is built on debt. And you see this big bubble. And only this is the real economy. And through interest rates, there's more debt than real money in this world. So you think there's already so much money, they're printing so much money, but there's even more debt. This leads to everything is a bubble, and growing non-stop is needed to keep the system alive. That's how it is. And this makes the whole system unstable, and this also leads to regular financial crises around the world, like in 1929 or 2008. And when prices go up, people can only afford to buy things with credit, which leads to even more debt and interest. So it's a circle, a negative circle. And look at this point, the real economy. And this is the financial system. And you will understand later why the concepts in Islamic finance are so important. Because this is not tied to anything real. And this is what I told you in the beginning. People can create real businesses, real value, do real work, but the financial system can just create more money, and the real work doesn't really matter and can't compete. And this leads us to the only solution, and this is Islamic finance. Islamic finance fixes all. When I converted to Islam, basically everything in my life was fixed. Alhamdulillah. After I converted, I didn't really understand Islamic finance. So there were many mistakes that I still did. And everything was there to teach me a lesson, to show me why these concepts matter. And I am 100% convinced, because this is my story, after I converted to Islam, I didn't change my businesses, but somehow my life really took off. My happiness took off. My businesses got 10 times better because I really tried to understand the concepts and to not see them as something which is blocking me. And I think this is really important, because there is this mindset out there that Islamic finance will stop you achieving financial goals. And it's not true at all. And if you follow Islamic finance the right way, and I'm not a shaykh here, I'm not a scholar, I'm only sharing my own experience, and that's it. And we have a good team which worked extremely hard on these details. But I want to share with you my experience. This is not ChatGPT, this is Aziz VIP. And I think my life, my story can really inspire you. And I just know that Islam improved every part of my life. And Islamic finance is based on the Quran and the Sunnah. And it's the fair and honest way to engage in business and financial transactions. And the beauty is that everything is clear. Before, there were so many questions in my mind, how I should interact with people, what is really fair. Common sense is nonsense. There is no common sense in the world. If we don't have clear rules that we can follow, nobody is telling you what's right or wrong. And it's just doesn't make any sense. And this is also why I created our Islamic principles in our company, to attract the right people, so that it's clear. Islamic finance gives you the full answer, full clarity on absolutely everything. The conventional financial system is built to support the growth of money, because you can sell money for money, which is good for the banks, good for the billionaires, the most influential people in the world, while the Islamic finance system supports the growth of business and the real economy, because you can't sell money for money. You need to do something that brings real value to the customer. And it's good for the people. And don't understand me wrong, I'm not a socialist. I'm doing business my whole life. I like the free market, the free economy. I'm against too much taxes to this government, but there has to be a limit. And without Islam, people don't know the limit. Because for me, in a common sense, it would be, I can't steal from a person, I can't exploit people. But you realize and you see, most people don't have this common sense. But if there would be clear rules, clear laws, it wouldn't even come to this place. And it is possible to think win-win, that you achieve your financial goals, that your team achieves everything, that your clients are happy, and that you can give enough money to this world, and that you can do charity. It is possible, and Islamic finance makes it easy. And the advantage is you are happy, more happy immediately, because I realized that the people who are so far away from these rules, they already live in hell in this life. Because people who exploit others, doesn't matter how much money they have, they are not happy. The first core principle of Islamic finance is the prohibition of interest, of riba. No charging or paying of interest on loans or deposits. Number 2, the prohibition of excessive uncertainty. No speculative or ambiguous contracts where outcomes are unclear. Number 3, prohibition of haram. Unethical or forbidden activities. No investments in alcohol, gambling, weapons, pornography, and so on. Number 4, profit and loss sharing, risk sharing. Both lender and borrower share risk and return fairly. Number 5, asset-backed transactions. Finance must be linked to real assets or services, not just money. And number 6, justice, ensuring fairness, preventing exploitation, and promoting community welfare. And we go into detail in every one of these principles. I think we already explained riba enough for today. And in Islamic finance, you just don't do it. You don't make money just from money, which means, and now you understand again why riba is so bad. Hey bro, I have more money than you. I give you $100 today, and you give me $110 in 1 week. And this is how it works. The issue is now, it seems like I help you, right? but this is not how the finance system is built. It's built on, if you can't pay me this $110 next week, I will completely destroy you. I will destroy your family. I will destroy your business. I own you now. So now a new life is destroyed. And for the person who lends it out, both is fine. For the banks, both is fine. If you can't pay your real estate, okay, then the bank gets the house. And you are destroyed. They don't care. And if you lend somebody money, it should be basically like charity. And you can earn money with it, but with shared risk. This is what we will explain later on. But it would be basically, I give you this money. So let's say you have a business idea. Then you do the work. I invest the money. And if this business fails, then we both failed. My money's gone. Your time is gone. And it's fine for both. But it's not that one life, one family is directly destroyed. And this is why Riba is so different. And it destroys that money is connected to real products, the real economy. Number 2, prohibition of excessive uncertainty. No speculation, no strange contracts where outcomes are unclear, like gambling. And now you think, okay, I don't go to the casino, I don't play in online casinos, that's it, right? But I realized it's not just this. And I have to make a separate video about this topic, so write down into the comments if you're interested. When I got scammed in the past, with crypto scams, this was exactly the same. I got scammed, and people get scammed on a daily basis with crypto scams and so on, because it's uncertain, it's speculation. There's nothing real behind it. And these speculations work on your greed. Oh yes, I will invest $100 and then I will have $10,000. And if you invest just in something official, it's okay, but not in this strange scheme. So most scams would be avoided immediately just by following this law. And if you got scammed, or if you want to avoid of getting scammed in the future, you just need to follow this Islamic principle. And also, if you want to have a real business which doesn't get destroyed, you need to follow these principles. Because I realized that most people, their whole business is a speculation. They don't have a real business, a real product, a real service. And that's why the business fails. And this is why your investments fail if you don't follow this. So, no speculations. If you want to do business with somebody, and you are the one who has the money, you need to give a clear intention, a clear outcome, and nothing in between. It's so important. And what I learned from this principle is that 90% of people who are in finance don't follow it, and that's why you can't trust them. And once I understood this principle and got scammed and saw clients all the year getting scammed, I realized even more that I have to be in finance because we are trustworthy. We don't do this nonsense, but most people do. And it makes fun if you understand these concepts and you see it as your duty to do something about it. Next is obviously the prohibition of haram. No alcohol, no gambling, no weapons, no explicit content, and so on. Why is it? People might think, I just make the money, basically like I sell the drugs, I don't take the drugs, right? Yeah, but you're selling them, you're promoting them. And this big industry is putting billions, and this is why it's there. When I converted to Islam, this was not difficult for me because I didn't do anything of it before. But I realized that to have a healthy balance, most people don't have it. And if it's just not available, it's not available. And this is much better. It doesn't give you anything good to invest in something like this, even in this life already. Because I realized that most people who invest or do business in alcohol, in gambling, in drugs, in obviously other haram, and in wars, already in this life, your life is destroyed. Shady people, strange things, all these strange industries, strange business partners who don't have anything to do with good values. It's a really bad life. And that's what you realize once you reach the top. And I never expected this, but most people expect if you have a lot of money, all problems will be solved. But it's not the case. And if I look at the people, the circles that I saw with endless amounts of money, they have a much harder life because they attract the absolutely worst people. Because if you don't have money, it's harder even to attract bad people. While if you have money, anyways, you get a lot of attraction and you need to start to filter. And most people are only there for your money. And then if you're in an industry like this, it's on a totally different level. And I see that with every of these Islamic finance principles, it already shows me in this life, it shows me that in deen and dunya, it's important. And already in this life, you can immediately feel better, have more clarity if you avoid anything of it. Let's finish the video with the last principles. We have 3 principles left. And principle number 4 is profit and loss sharing, risk sharing. Both lender and borrower share risk and returns fairly. On the left side, we have, I give you $500,000 for a new business, and whatever happens, you need to pay me back $2 million. In Islamic finance, you have, I give you 500K for your business. You invest the time, I invest the money. If it fails, you lose time, and I lose money. It's important to mention that profit share can be negotiated, loss share can't. Whatever each person invests is what they lose. And this is totally fair. And nobody is destroyed at the end of the day. And you have your learnings, but you're not fully destroyed. And this is what's important. And it also helps you to think more clearly. And also there, I failed with one huge business investment one time in the past because I didn't know yet that I'm not investing into a business, I'm investing into a person, I'm investing into the founder, I'm investing into the CEO. And that's why our Islamic company principles are so important and why it's so important to only work with the right people. And this also helps me, for example, to really think, is it the right person? Is it the right business? While most finance companies just invest and think, whatever, we get our riba, we get our money, and if this person fails, it's maybe even better, then we take all of it. We have the power, we have the lawyer, we have everything. And this isn't good. Why profit and loss sharing creates a win-win situation. And also there, with win-win, your life gets better immediately. If you think that everybody around you can be happy and win, your team, your clients, people in other countries, poor people, you are happy. Everybody can win. And I really believe it's possible if you have the right intention. Principle number 5, asset-backed transactions. Finance must be linked to real assets or services, not just money. Conventional banking means banks don't want to have anything to do with real things. They only want to deal with money. While Islamic banking means money needs to become something real before you can make profit. And this is important. And there are so much more things to say, but I don't want that the video will be 10 hours. So let's finish the video with our last principle, and this is justice and social responsibility. And this is really important, and this is also something which I needed to learn. Ensuring fairness, preventing exploitation, and promoting community welfare. And here we have a quote that our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "Do not meet the merchants on the way before they reach the market." And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ warned against using false oaths to increase sales. Swearing falsely makes the merchandise sell, but will erase the blessings. And here we have the example with the grain. And there was the example where the merchant basically had all the bad grain, and on top, he has put the good grain. So you just buy this big piece of grain and you think it's all good, but then at home you realize 80% of it's bad. And this is haram, because you scam people. And yes, you make a little bit more money, but the client is unhappy, and this will come back to you anyways. And this is something that you can't do. You need to be fair, and there's many things that you need to pay attention to be really fair. But for me personally, summarized, what this created is more barakah, more blessings, even now, on a daily basis, because it was more easy. Before, I thought, okay, materialism, I need this, and Islam just made it clear for me, I can achieve these financial goals as long as it's halal, but at the same time, I should do all the other things, create win and win, be fair, do charity. And then you have even more motivation to make money, because you really feel the magnitude. There can't be more happiness from buying more cars and more of this. But helping people to see this on a daily basis. This is unlimited inspiration. And I think this was one reason why things really took off, because I understood my responsibility. And I understood the responsibility of this whole topic. Islamic banking, Islamic finance. I looked at the world and saw there's so much negative out there, so much wars, so much things which clearly come from shaitan, but I realized it doesn't change anything that I'm just one more person of a few billion people who just watches the news and complains. Allah Azza wa Jal gifted me with this position to make money, to be healthy, and it's my responsibility to use it for the right purposes. It's our duty as a Muslim to seek knowledge and to improve every single day. And this is a long-term journey. But working on it, doing it, improving it every single day, this is amazing. And this is what this channel is about. We are not selling you any make money online coaching. I give you the real business value for free on this channel. And we try to create a digital Islamic golden age, which means the most righteous community of 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs following our Islamic principles. And the more money we have collectively, the more power we have, the more we can learn, the more righteous investments we can do, and the more we can have positive impact in this world. And now you might ask yourself, so what's the solution? Now I know the principles, I know the issues in this world, but I don't see a final solution. And this will be the next video in our video series, inshallah. So write your questions into the comments, follow this channel, and I would say see you in the next video or see you in the call with one of my team members if you become a client of us, or see you in real life, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.